Look, I gender dysphoria is an issue.
Of course, yeah.
There's obviously, when you're an adult, you're able to make choices that is up to you about what you do to an extent with your own body.
Yeah.
But when it comes to minors, that's a different matter. WHO is not actually, finding the difference there. They're just saying, these are the guidelines for everyone, and this is what will happen. Now, you might think, well, who cares? It's WHO talking over there in Geneva about, some guidelines. The problem is, like all of this stuff that comes from these globalist bodies, whether it be the UN or the WHO or whatever, they end up becoming documents that reach their way into regulation and legislation here in Australia and in other countries. So that is the danger. That's why it has to be headed off at the pass at the WHO before it becomes a reality here in Australia.
And look, also, it's completely undemocratic, isn't it, that this happens? Because the World Health Organization is not only a globalist body, it's also a bureau of unelected officials who make these decisions that somehow work their way into government. So, George, tell me, this is a really important issue. How can ordinary people stand up against these globalist bodies and make it known that we simply do not want their input in Australia?
We do. We target, at Citizen Go, we target the delegates that Australia sends to these bodies. We've got another campaign again on the pandemic treaty, which is coming up. That's going to be decided upon, I think, in May of this year. And we're specifically targeting the ambassador that we send to the WHO and her team. They're the ones ultimately that are going to be voting one way or another. Of course, we need to target the Australian government that gives them the direction as well, and we do that too. So, look, I still believe fundamentally that people power is a thing, that people power can change the course of countries. It can change the course of the world if there's enough people power. So that's why we launch these petitions. And it's not just petitions. If there is strong support and strong backing for an issue such as, opposing bonds, we might then go and launch an offline action where we actually stand out the front of bond stores, have a whole heap of people waving placards or something like that. It embarrasses these companies. It embarrasses even the World Health Organization when our people go over to Geneva and do something out the front there. Embarrasses them so much they get their security guards and goons onto us to escort us away. But nonetheless, they hate that sort of stuff, confrontational politics.
Really do.
But we need more of it because it's the only way that we're going to get these people to come to the party and see sense.
Oh, absolutely. Peaceful people power is certainly the way to go. The left has known that for a long time, although all too often nowadays, their peaceful people power isn't actually peaceful. They have a little tendency to not be. But yes, we people on the right need to be engaging in peaceful people power as well, certainly. Now, George, you are also an avid supporter of the Childhood Gender Transition Prohibition Bill of 2023. Can you tell us a bit about that? And look, also, has it garnered much support from people who necessarily maybe wouldn't label themselves conservative?
I think it has. This is a bill, like I was saying, hats off to these guys. Senator Alex Antic, I think Senator Ralph Babbitt, Senator Matt Canavan, pretty sure Senator Gerard Rennick is behind it. I know that Senator Malcolm Roberts and Pauline Hanson also support this bill. So it's sort of got, input from across different parties there. The problem is that Labor and the Greens have blocked this bill from progressing anywhere, even to a Senate inquiry, which is where it should go next. That's by rights. When legislation's produced, you have a look at it, see whether it's targeting a real issue, whether there's merit to the bill, but they don't even want to look at that. Why? Well, they don't want any questions asked about why statistics like I just rattled off before are a thing. Why is it that 10 years ago only 8 kids presented to one hospital in Melbourne for gender transition issues?
Yeah, exactly.
And now 800 are presenting. I mean, that's quite a blowout.
Quite
That's
a blowout, yes.
like a 10,000% blowout. This is not normal. Something is going on. And as I alluded to before, I think that something is the almighty dollar, and everyone's trying to jump on that fad and make a bit of money out of it, particularly big pharma and big medicine. But look, I think a lot of parents are concerned about this because they see it coming at them from a whole heap of different directions. You just turn on the television and it's in your face. You send your kids off to school, it's in their face. To a public library, there's books there that are promoting this sort of agenda as well. So there's a lot of concern now from parents about the kind of things that their kids are being subjected to and having rash decisions that can be life-lasting. That's the problem,
exactly.
is that, we're talking about gender transitioning in some cases, kids who are like 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 years old.